No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Today I'm back with an old friend, Diego
What's up,
Lozan. How you
man?
feeling, Doug?
I'm good. I feel good. It's good to be back here, man.
Yeah, it's great to have you back in here. So I've been wondering what life was like for you lately, and I was actually hitting you up trying to get on the phone with you a couple weeks ago. We didn't end up doing it because we're both space cases, but I'm glad that we're in here so we can
Yeah.
actually have a conversation for the
Yeah,
world to
yeah,
see.
yeah. I've been doing really good, man. Probably wasn't doing that good last time I saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how long ago was that? When was the last time we saw each other?
I mean, I think it was either 20, I think it was 2019.
I think it's when you came to the house.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was so messed up, bro.
Okay, so describe where you were at in your life at that point, because at that point you had decided that the LA life was not for you, so you moved to the OC basically, and you had a house and you were doing
Yeah,
your
like
thing.
the Inland Empire, close to the OC.
Okay.
You kind of like back where I'm from, but it's crazy. When you had come over, I was pretty down bad. Like, and you could even see in the video. I've seen it a couple of times. I am not there. Like, I look like a walking zombie, and it's crazy. Yeah, that was probably one of the worst. Not the worst, but that was a bad time, definitely.
I remember you being in the G-Wagon with Chad Tepper, and you were both smoking 2 menthol cigarettes each in your mouth. 2
Yeah.
menthol cigarettes. And I remember after that, I went to London, so it was definitely 2019. I went to London, and a girl bummed me a fucking menthol cigarette, and I tried to hit it, and it just gave me such insane flashbacks to being in the G-Wagon with so much menthol smoke in my
Yeah.
face that I have not been able to smoke a menthol
No,
cigarette
they're
since.
disgusting. They're
Yeah.
disgusting. Yeah, I think we're smoking like 5 at a time. Yeah, that just is an indicator of how far bad things have gotten.
Okay, so tell me where were you at that point in your life that made you want to like leave the downtown LA life and move to
Good
the OC
question.
or whatever?
I think what ultimately led to me having to leave was probably financial stability. How do you say it? Financial stability, definitely. I was going through a rough time. I wasn't broke by any means. I definitely probably had more money, I guess, than the average person would in a case. But to what I was used to was, if that makes a little bit of sense.
Well, because at the height of everything with you in 2017 or 2018, whenever like your reached its climax, you had like multiple apartments, right?
Yeah, and the thing that went into the multiple apartments, it wasn't like a flex, like, oh, look, I'm having all these. I kept getting evicted. Like, I had one, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to move to a nicer one, and I let my mom stay at that one. Got evicted, so I had to get a new one. So, and then I moved out of there because I got evicted, then moved to Levels. So that's where, like, the multiple apartments, it was just I kept getting evicted.
But you were paying like 10 grand a month for one of the apartments. I remember you telling me.
At Levels, it was probably anywhere between 8 to 10,000. And that plus the money I was spending on drugs, that combined like really put a dent.
And you were basically like cycling girls in and out of the crib like nonstop. Because I remember random girls DMing me and basically saying like, "Hey, I'm outside of Lil Xan's house right now, and he's like fell asleep, so he won't let us up in the elevator.
Oh, no.
Can you get us up?" I'm like, I don't know what the thing I'm gonna do to be able to control
Yo, let me
this
give
for
him
you.
a call real quick. Yo, I'm sorry you had to deal with that, man.
Oh, that was fine. I mean,
Yeah.
but I remember trying to like be like, "Nah, but you can come chill with us. Yeah, come on our
there
crib."
you go, there you go. Yo, he probably got a couple from that.
I don't think I did. I was like really trying to go through my memory to be like, did you fuck any Lil Xan leftovers? But I don't think I did. But
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I would. Oh man, there's so many stories of me leaving my friends down there. You had to like call up, yeah, to even get. And some people would sneak up there. They would take the stairs, and I would just get some weird fans at the door.
Wow,
yeah, it was
really?
kind of sketchy.
So because I feel like you're someone who really went from like not having to just being famous, having everybody know who you were, getting money coming in all the time, and it happened so abruptly that
So
like
quick.
the average person that has that kind of glow up is not ready for it, but you were like mega not ready for it.
Yeah. I like the way you put that. Like the normal person wouldn't be ready for it, but I super was not ready for it. That type of whatever it is, that type of fame, money, whatever, that'll affect anybody at any age, and especially when you're so young and impressionable, it'll affect you the most. Yeah, it was insane. I didn't know how to deal with it, and I think a lot of what went into to my drug habits was caused by the anxiety, the stress of just everything happening so quick, and all these people now want to interact with me in certain ways, and I wasn't used to that. So I'm not gonna blame that on it, but obviously it played into like my drug addiction. It worked beautifully with it.
Right, because that's one thing I always say is that a lot of people, including like myself at a certain point, you're basically doing as much drugs as you can afford.
Yeah, and that's the problem, and that goes for anybody that has money in any industry. You know, you have this money, you have an addictive personality per se, and you just are gonna spend it. And what my biggest problem was, I wasn't taking those like fake whatever's on, those are the cheap ones on the street. I would spend the extra lot or whatever to get the real stuff, prescriptions from like that were real basically, because I just was not. That's where all my money went basically.
Because this is kind of like the early days of us realizing that there was fentanyl in a lot of pills.
Yeah, it was a weird time. It's not like how it is now. It was like you didn't really know. You knew it was something else kind of, and it was bad, but the fentanyl epidemic was just like starting.
Because I watched a little documentary last night for some reason that was like 7 years old, and it's from where I grew up in New Hampshire, and it was basically just like a detox that they were running for people who were all fucked up on drugs. And they in the documentary, the person, the interviewer asked the staff, they say like, what's the worst drug that you guys deal with? And they're just like, oh, heroin.
Yeah.
And there's no mention of fentanyl.
No mention of fentanyl.
None.
It's weird, right?
7 years ago, there was no mention of it, which is fucking crazy because soon after that, it became like the thing to talk about.
It just exploded, and now it's this big epidemic, and now every person getting treated in rehab, it's like, oh, fentanyl. It's an easy question, It's like, why are they in here, fentanyl? I saw something too that I don't know if it was 7 years ago, but they were mentioning certain drugs, and fentanyl didn't come up either. And I was like, that's crazy. It is like a fairly new big thing, I guess, but it's been around for a while, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember when Lil Peep died, like somebody had to kind of explain it to me.
Yeah. And that's totally understandable. I think that was a big wake up call for a lot of people, like that, this fentanyl is insane, It was horrible.
But okay, so before you were famous, how much drugs were you doing on average? Were you still fully in it, like getting fucked up every day, or did you not really have the money to be doing it every day?
Yeah.
And you have normal person requirements in life, like going to work or some shit, it can be kind of hard to hold that down.
Yeah, I would say I was dabbling with it probably like 3 years before. It would be almost like a weekend thing or sporadic. Right. It was very sporadic. It wasn't a consistent, like every day I take this and I go through withdrawals. It was like just every once in a while. It was like a social thing, I guess. And as a year went by, another year, I got a little bit worse and worse, and then boom, hit with all that stuff at once. I was like, well, now I can afford this even better. And I'm stressed out all the time, and I have a lot of anxiety. So
you got to travel, you got to be on tour, you got to go in front of all these fucking people. All of a sudden, you have like a real reason to do it.
It's so crazy because looking back, like I can perform very easily now. I love performing; it's dope. But I would almost throw up before I had to go do a show. Like I would be in the bathroom, like chucking up, like so nervous. Even just before like club appearances, I was like not ready. But that's where, Xanax and all that came into play. It helped out a lot.
Definitely. So, but I mean, I heard you like citing some pretty ridiculous statistics of like what you were taking at a certain point where you said you were taking, I think 20 Vicodins and 10 Xans in a day.
I was doing more than that. Yeah.
That is mind blowing to me because I always talk about like, oh yeah, I had this period of time where I was doing Xanax. I think like a couple of times I might have taken 2 bars in a day.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, but and that had me like fucked up, no idea what was going on.
Someone with no tolerance, that might as well be it right there. Yeah.
All right, so you see it. We just hit 500K. You know what that means? That means you gotta subscribe and get us to 600K because we are dangerously close to 666K. Let's go.